Hi, change leaders. Welcome to my channel, Change Management with 10x Forward. This video series, Change Management from Slow to Go, will focus on a range of change management topics, including some of the popular models and frameworks like the ProSci-ADKAR model, Cotter 8 steps, and more. This video series is definitely for you if you have an interest in change management. Whether if you're new to the industry or you've been around leading change projects and initiatives for some time now, I'm sure you're going to be able to take some new things that you can apply to your change practice immediately. I'm Rocky DeLuna, founder at 10x Forward, a change management firm that helps you move your projects from slow to go. For over 20 years, I've been able to help companies, both large and small, anywhere from startups to pre-IPO companies, all the way to Fortune 100 organizations that have employees all over the world. The range of projects that I've gotten to support and lead throughout this time vary wildly in size and impact. The one thing that was most important in each one, no matter what the size or scale or budget was that at the time that we go live with something, we want people to feel good about what they're asked to do. We want them to know how to do what we're asking them to do. And as an organization, we want to realize the results, the ROI from those change initiatives. I would love to tell you that every single one of those projects was a huge success and that everybody cheered us on and carried us on their shoulders to celebrate the big wins that we had, but that's not the case. Some projects never came to fruition, even though all the work was just about done. For those of you that are watching that are seasoned change practitioners, you know all too well that some of the projects that you start working on and spend a lot of effort and time and dollars on never come to fruition. Sometimes the things that really need to be prioritized can't be because there's some other constraint that's working against you. We're going to talk about all of those things here in this series, the good, the bad, and the ugly of change management, because that's literally what this field is about. Something that I'm really excited to share with all of you during this video series is the incorporation of AI technologies to help you in your change practice. These technologies help support and accelerate the deliverables that you need to create. AI technologies can serve as a thought partner for you. They can be used to brainstorm. They can even provide some context or sentiments that you may not be aware of, especially if this is your first time leading a specific type of change initiative. That segment, called From Slow to Go, will be in every one of these videos. I'll be sharing with you the exact workflows and prompts that I use to give me a head start, and also as we prepare some of the deliverables that we're required to produce as change leaders. So if you're an existing change leader or becoming one, stick around. This is going to be a great video series. If you are new to change management, or you work with change managers, maybe you're a project manager, you're part of a project management office, you're an operations leader, an HR leader, stick around also so that you can get some insights on how to support the change leaders in your organizations so that you can get the results that you're looking for from the initiatives that you are driving. Have you ever faced a very sudden and abrupt company change? For example, the whole time since you've been working at this company, you've been operating using a certain process or technology, and then from one day to the next, you find out that it's going to be replaced? Or have you ever been checking your email way before work starts, like at 6 a.m., and you see that there's an announcement that your company has been sold and that there's going to be some changes coming up? Sure, in both of those instances, there may be a handful of people that are very excited about the upcoming changes that those kinds of announcements mean. However, for the majority of us, those can lead to a lot of stress and chaos and wondering what in the world is going on. In this video, I'm going to show how applying change management fundamentals and methodologies to these particular types of scenarios and others can reduce the stress and confusion associated with them, and we can bring our people along with us. So to get us started, let's just go ahead and ask the question, what is change management? And if you were to Google that question right now, you would probably find a range of options for how various groups define change management. Anywhere from the Project Management Institute, PMI, to Cotter, to ProSci, to different universities, etc. So I'm going to offer up a definition that I think will be good for us to operationalize. That way we all are working off of the same understanding of what change management is in relation to this video series. Change management is a structured approach to helping individuals, teams, and organizations move from a current state to a desired future state. It helps ensure smooth transitions and minimizes resistance. Now, I know for those of you that are existing change practitioners and leaders, you maybe are working off of definitions within your own organization that may be more specific or more broad than this one. And I think that that's really great. I think honestly, that we look at it differently gives us the flavor, right? Otherwise, there would just be one change management model, one change management framework, one set of tools and tips to use. But that's not the case because all of the changes we're implementing are so different. So this is just a definition to get us started. So now that we have a baseline for what change management is, we have to wonder, why does it matter then? The primary outcome that we're looking for from implementing change management into any kind of project or initiative in an organization is so that once we've put all this effort, money, resources, time, everything like that into changing from one technology platform to another, going through a merger and acquisition, any of those things, is when we're done, we want to make sure our employees and our team members know what's expected of them. They're ready, willing, and able to do the work and continue the work. So what change management looks to do is to reduce the risks of employees not wanting to do the work or not knowing how to do the work, or that there even is a change, right? Those are the risks we want to reduce. And we want to increase adoption, which is when we turn the light switch on or say something is live now, that people actually are utilizing what the change is and doing what the change requests or requires, rather than falling back on old patterns or behaviors, which basically take away the ROI from all of our work. So I do want to share some examples of risks from prior projects that I've worked on. The first one I'll share is about implementing a learning management system or an LMS. This type of platform is something that many companies have. Basically, it's a repository where a lot of training goes into it. And then people are able to distribute that training or deploy that training out at different times, such as annual compliance training, things like that. And it's great. It's got reporting, it's, accessible, all of those other things. You're probably wondering, why isn't this a good solution? Why would anybody not want to have an LMS and create resistance or risks, right, toward adoption? Well, a couple of things would come up for that particular example. Say, for example, the organization or you as a change leader haven't taken a good inventory or stock of how many people are out there that are delivering training right now. Say you have a sales team that has a lot of training, they have new hire training, they have sales training, they have advanced sales training, they have all of these things, but since they haven't had an LMS so far, they're used to conducting their training the way they want, right? And a lot of it may be manual efforts and things like that. So you're probably wondering, that actually sounds like a really good solution for an organization to have. What type of adoption risks could possibly come up? Well, one example would be, let's say you have a sales team within the organization, and since there hasn't been an LMS in place, they've been doing all of their training manually, they're coordinating it, they know how to schedule it, they have SMEs that are leading things, all of those different things are in place so that when they have a new hire sales professional, they know exactly how to get them onboarded and going on. Well, as a change leader and the project manager, if you're not aware of the many uses that are out there in your organization for how a platform needs to be used, this could be a big point of resistance. Say the sales training have tons of videos and they have tons of reports that they pull and all of these other things. but they're not compatible with the platform that you're selecting. But so they'd have to create them all over in this new platform. And sure, it's going to look great, but in the meantime, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, right? And they may not have the resources to do it, or you may not have a learning and development, an L&D team that would be able to support building out this type of work to load into the LMS. That could be a big risk point right there, right? So let's turn that over so that we can change it from a risk to increase adoption, which is again the whole point or one of the major points of change management. In this case, as a change leader and the organization project manager, whoever it is that's sourcing vendors and things like that, ahead of time you would have conducted a stakeholder analysis or needs analysis to find out who in my organization is conducting training right now, what kind of training are they putting out there, what are the medium in which the training is being deployed. Is it PowerPoints? Is it live calls? Is it Zoom calls? Is it pre-recorded webinars? What are those things? And are those things compatible with the platform that we're going to be bringing on to our organization? If that work is done ahead of time and you've consulted with the sales leaders in that organization and you bring them on board to show like, hey, this is going to give your team some automation so that your SMEs can go out there being sales coaches now instead of spending so much time prepping for new hires, things like that. So let's take a look at why change management matters today and specifically why it matters to you, change leader. These statistics that I'm going to be sharing are from Accenture. Accenture is one of the top firms offering change management solutions out there to organizations. The first one is 80% of organizations have change as part of their long-term vision. I'm actually surprised that this isn't at 100% because there isn't anyone that I know that at their company isn't going through some kind of change or getting ready for some change. So I feel like this is probably higher, but who knows? The next one is 95% of organizations have undergone 2 or more transformations in the past 3 years. I can tell you with the last organization that I was with for about 3 years, we went through at least 1.5 major change in those years. But that's part of the nature of being in a hyper growth organization. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of planning for scalability. There's a lot of looking to acquire organizations or even divest of parts of the organization as they make sense. So 2.5 in the past 3 years, I think is about right, and maybe even a little bit low, depending on where in the org life cycle that you're in. Our next statistic is 96% of C-suite leaders are dedicating more than 5% of revenue to change projects in the next 3 years. So depending what size organization you're looking at, 5% could be quite a substantial amount. Now, it would be super duper awesome if that 5% was all just for the change management team to carry out all those tasks and initiatives, but I'm pretty sure that that is for the full project overall. However, if you're working at one of those companies that's dedicating all of their money to change or all of that 5% to change, congrats, that is awesome. Be a great steward of it so they can continue investing in these important changes. Our next statistic is 100% of C-suite leaders anticipate significant changes to their workforce. See, now this one is a little bit more in line with the prior one that said about 80% expect changes. I was expecting to see this. And here's the last statistic that I want to share from Accenture. I will link the website below on this video so that you can go through and read more information that they have provided there as well. Despite all of the statistics that we saw earlier, here's our final statistic. Yet only 30% have confidence in their change capabilities. So that being the C-suite leaders, the organizations. So we know that many have gone 2 or more change projects in the last 3 years. We know 80% of them are anticipating or are planning changes in their company. We know 100% of our leaders are expecting significant changes to their company, yet only 30% feel confident in their capabilities. This is where you can then change leaders or future up and coming change leaders. There's a lot to tap into here. I hope that this video series has already given you something in terms of awareness for what change management is. But as we continue, especially in our upcoming segment from Slow to Go, we'll start looking at how you can start applying AI technologies right now to help change your practice immediately. So this brings us to our From Slow to Go segment. We know what change management is. We know why it matters so much, but then what do we do about it? This is my favorite segment. A couple of things that I want to share with you as we look at this is know before you go. AI, while it's been around actually for a lot longer than we've been hearing about it, has really just come to the forefront, and organizations are trying to figure out how are we going to use it? How are we going to implement it? How are we going to know that it's safe to use? All of those things. So before you take on anything from your own organization and start doing things with AI on it on your own, here's a couple of recommendations that I have for you. The first one is do not enter any proprietary, private, or sensitive company information. Basically, if it's stats, figures, revenues, company size, locations, projections, do not enter any of that information at all. It's usually, I find, not even really necessary unless you're doing very specific data analysis, because you can fill in those blanks with the responses. The next thing is check your organization's policies and procedures when utilizing AI. Some of you may work in organizations where AI is already in place. So check with maybe your InfoSec team, your leaders of HR. There may be a governance body that has appropriate usage methods for AI and ones that they don't qualify. So how this segment is going to go is I'm going to read the prompt that is on the page here. And after that, I'm going to go over into ChatGPT, copy that exact same prompt, and show you how to get going with this. So this first part, since we're just getting started and this is just about the fundamentals, I want to share with you a sample prompt that you could use to set up the persona for a change leader with ChatGPT. So in this case, our prompt is going to say, Master Change Leader. And the reason I do that at the beginning before the colons is because when you start seeing your ChatGPT prompts over time, you're only going to see the first few words. And this will give you a little cue as to which one to go back to when you're using it. You may have one that's just a data analyst or a financial analyst or something like that. This one is going to be my Master Change Leader. So Master Change Leader, you are a change management expert skilled in the most popular and common OCM models in use today. And here in brackets that you'll see, I'm going to just put some directions to you about how you can make this more specific to your situation that you're working on. So here you could insert other specifics you want GPT to be responsive in. Like you may say you are also really skilled as a corporate communications person because maybe you're going to tap into the communications capabilities with ChatGPT. So again, be as specific as you want. You'll be my thought partner and help me brainstorm ideas to create communications and training campaigns that support the changes and engage employees. And so now that you've set up this initial persona for ChatGPT to be a master change leader, now you're going to tell it a little bit about who you are and what you're trying to accomplish so that way it knows how to interact with you. So I'm a change leader working on insert type of project here. So whether if you're sunsetting an ERP and implementing a new one, or you are going through a merger and acquisition, or you are implementing a new LMS, anything that you are, you can put this here in these brackets. We are going live on date. If you know it, if you just kind of have a ballpark figure, like it's at the end of Q4, just go ahead and put December and the end of the year. And I need to come up with my change management strategy and supporting documentation for my project team and employees. Now that we have this prompt, I'm going to move over to ChatGPT. I'm going to copy and paste it. I may make a few tweaks here and there, and then I'll press return. There isn't a specific request in this prompt yet. However, I'm going to see if just based on the bottom saying that I need to create the supporting documentation and a strategy, what it picks up even just from there. So let's switch over to ChatGPT. So just pressing return, it's already wanting to dive right in. It's giving me a change strategy outline. I'm going to scroll down. So we've got assessment and planning, stakeholder engagement, communications plan, training support, implementation and monitoring, supporting documentation. So just from that persona setup with not even really a real request for an output, we're already getting a lot of incredible information back from ChatGPT. Now, one of the things that I do want to share with you is that even though this may look wonderful and like, oh my gosh, it's already given me all of that. Like I don't have to go and look at prior project files and try to, get templates and things like that. Your first response from ChatGPT is just a first response. Don't think of it as it being gold, platinum, or titanium, nothing like that. It's just a place to start. Again, this is how you interact with it as a thought partner. Now you're able to look at it, scan it, see what you're really able to use and what you don't need to use. So this was the first AI application that I wanted to share with you using ChatGPT for change management. Hey, change leaders. So we covered quite a bit today in our first video in this series. We talked about what change management is, why it matters to you today, all those statistics from Accenture, and we even started our From Slow to Go segment, which is showing us how to incorporate AI into our change management practice. If there are specific topics or questions that you have about change management that you'd like me to address in upcoming videos, please drop those in the comments below and I will be reading through those and preparing them. And if this one video made it seem like change management can be pretty complex and very nuanced, you're absolutely right. The good news is the change management framework that we're going to be looking at next, which is the ProSci ADKAR change management model, shows us how we focus in on the individual. We're able to minimize the resistance and decrease those risks we talked about earlier and head more toward higher adoption. If you found something that you're able to use and apply into your change practice, please leave that on the comments below. I appreciate your feedback and I will be tailoring the videos with your feedback and questions as I move along. If you found this video interesting and informative for you in your change management practice, if you're walking away with something that you can apply immediately, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Rocky with 10x Forward and so glad that you were with me here today.